I want to talk about one of my favorite places to have lived, which, believe it or not, was in New Jersey. It's called Haddonfield, New Jersey, South Jersey in the Camden County. And I'm going through the new downtown Alpharetta area, which is actually just booming. It's pretty freaking fantastic, man. But anyway, so we lived in South Jersey, Haddonfield, which is interesting because when we had our realtor show us around, she didn't take us to Haddonfield. She wasn't, I don't know if she wasn't familiar with it or not, whatnot, but this is the drawback with realtors. A lot of these realtors are good at their specific area of knowledge, but they might not be good at places they're not familiar with. And those are some of those places they're not familiar with are places you might want to check out. So when we were moving in New Jersey, we were looking at obviously buying a house, and we were living in so we sold our house in Texas. I was working in Philly, and we were living in like an extended stay kind of place, like a Marriott. I think it's called Marriott Extended Stay, something like that. And in Cherry Hill. Now, Cherry Hill doesn't do anything for me. I didn't want to move to Cherry Hill. So we were looking at Sewell or something like that. I can't remember, like southern New Jersey, which is, kind of like where my kind of people are. Alabama of New Jersey is what they call it. New Jersey's Alabama, South Jersey, which is fantastic. Mickleton. And I was surprised because the houses are actually quite affordable, and it was nice down there. It was a pretty neck of the woods, and I enjoyed it. We went down there to some place in Mickleton, or one of those places down there. I forgot what it's called. And Chloe got stung by a hornet or a yellow jacket as we were looking at a house to potentially buy. And we said, yeah. Anyway, long story short, we go back to our hotel, our extended stay, and they have that breakfast thing in the morning, which is nice. And certainly eating breakfast. And the guy who was like the general manager just overheard us talk about Mickleton and how Chloe got bit by a hornet or whatever, and how that was a sign not to move there. He goes, you guys considered Haddonfield? We're like, what, Haddonfield? He goes, yeah, man, you should go check out Haddonfield. We said, okay. And didn't know anything about it. Our realtor hadn't taken us by there or anything. We didn't know anything about it. Well, it turns out that's where we bought our house, on Maple Ave in Haddonfield. And it's a great community, man. It was great. You could walk. I literally walked to the train, hopped on the speed line, took me into Philadelphia, freaking 15 minutes each way. Not walk. Well, I guess probably 10 minutes to walk and 15 minutes on the train. It was freaking fantastic. Walked, we had a walking school bus. Everybody walked to school. We had 4 neighbors that were fantastic. So it was us and then 3 other people that we just greatly enjoyed their company. One was a retired Marine. Actually, it's funny because he's from Central America, and he was big time right winger. His wife was a big lib, though. It was kind of funny, but they were great. We enjoyed them immensely. One was a retired CIA guy. And just the people next to us were just blue collar people. It was fantastic. And we used to sit there, like on 4th of July, would all hang out, do fireworks and stuff, and it was wonderful, man. I didn't drink, but they would all drink, and we had barbecue. I remember one time my man Rich came over, and we were barbecuing, smoking some ribs, and everyone came over. It's like the way it used to be, a great neighborhood community. And the funny thing was, my wife was number 6 of 9. Our neighbor was number 6 of 9, and the neighbor was number 6 of 9. Tell me that's not creepy, man. 3 straight neighbors, my wife, the neighbor Claire, and then the neighbor next to us, I forgot his name, all 6 of 9. I think they were all 6. They're all 9. I remember that, if memory serves, but tell me that isn't crazy. So Claire, something like that, who lived next to us, I think it was Mary Claire, something like that. They lived down here in Sandy Springs, as a matter of fact, when her husband was in the Marine Corps. I can't remember what he was doing down here, but anyway, they moved around a little bit, Florida up here and whatnot. But she's native of Haddonfield, and she missed it, and so they moved back. His name was Juan, and just a great people, man. And we go out back, and we start. Someone was giving away a swing set, so we went and got it from the house across, a couple doors down. We rebuilt it in our backyard, and then that'd be kind of a gathering place with some of the neighborhood kids. It's freaking fantastic, and I miss it. The drawback about New Jersey is the taxes are through the flipping roof. And I said, this isn't worth it. I told my wife, I said, we've got to move. This is great. We only lived there 22 months. And they drove us out, and the regulation too. It's just, it's such a deep blue county, Camden County. And there's some weird stuff. Like, there was a guy in Haddonfield, and apparently people know he did this. He would walk around and just whip out his privates. And I was like, what? I was like, this is acceptable? And people would just kind of giggle at it. I was like, what the hell is that? He could walk around and whip him out, like the chicks. I was like, this isn't acceptable. What? It's the weirdest thing, man. So, there's a strange, like, it never did to my wife or me, obviously, but it's just like, what? But apparently that was a thing. Some dude walk around and whip out his things, and people knew it. And apparently, I'm not going to say anything more because, let's just put it this way. He wasn't a loser. Obviously a loser, but he was in a somewhat prominent position in the city. Weird, man. Anyway, that was strange. But we had a nice Catholic church right there, a nice Catholic school right there. It's just freaking like stepping back in time. Neighborly, blue, so it was controlled by Dems. But anyway, I enjoyed it immensely, and that's the kind of town I'm looking for right there. That's not as high, as expensive. That is not blue, and I don't know if it's gonna be hard or not, but it's where people are neighborly. Because I'm telling you, community is number one. Like when the snow we were on a corner, so we had a lot to cover, shovel when the snow would come, and the neighbor would do it for us, and next door the guy across the street would, if I didn't get out there in time, he'd do it, and vice versa. It's just fantastic. But again, the taxes and the regulation were through the roof. And it's not feasible. It's not feasible to retire to a place like that, that's for sure. And because who wants to live in, a freaking deep blue county? All right, so, but I'll never forget, the drawback about Haddonfield, too, is because it's so liberal, is once you got in the general community outside your neighborhood, I'll never forget sitting there at a soccer game. My kids were playing soccer, and somehow they had pink jerseys, and I was like, come on, man, it's an all boys team, don't make them have pink. But this is the problem with liberals, upper class white liberals, man, is they have to show that they're just because it's pink doesn't mean boys can't wear it. And I'll never forget when kids got their jersey, they're tiny, little kids, like, I'm not wearing that. They threw a fit, and anyway, ultimately we got to wearing it. But it's like, come on, man, stop making a freaking my kids your political activism. Give me a flipping break. But anyway, so one time I was sitting at a game, I'll never forget, this guy came up, sat next to me, and he was retired Air Force, if memory served. And he said, hey, so, Bubba Bush just got to chat. And he goes, yeah, I just moved here. I like this town. I said, yeah, man, we've been here for over a year. It's a fantastic town. It's a great community, great, just we enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Now, the schools are run by heavy unionized people, but we enjoyed our teachers. That's the thing. Once you put politics aside, people are people, man. Not all of them. We had some crappy teachers. One crappy teacher in particular really had an impact on Chloe that affected her for a long, long time. She's finally gotten beyond that. But that's not because they're heavily unionized. They're bully teachers in every freaking district. That's for damn sure, union or not. But anyway, so I'm sitting there and we're chatting to this guy. I was retired Air Force. He goes, yeah, I really like Haddonfield. I just I wish it was more diverse. I said, huh? He goes, yeah, just, it's like all white. He was a white guy, of course. I said, well, interesting. So you moved here not known as not diverse? He goes, no, I moved here for the schools, but I wish it was more diverse. I said, well, you could have moved one town over to Camden. It's very diverse, and still sent your kids to Haddonfield schools, because they had a thing where you could actually pay tuition and send your kids to Haddonfield schools. In Collingswood, they had the same thing. Collingswood was kind of booming. Actually, Collingswood was pretty cool, man. It was run down for a while, and now it's booming because it's right on the train. A lot of restaurants going on down there. It's a pretty cool town. Anyway, and I'll never forget this guy. It's like, I just wish it was more diverse. I said, well, why'd you move here? Did you not know it was lily white? Because I don't find that offensive in the least, saying it's lily white. I'm like, yeah, it is what it is, man. But he's like, yeah, just, but the schools. I said, oh, well, you could have lived in Camden, very diverse, and sent your kids to Haddonfield. He goes, well, yeah. He just kind of mumbled and said, yeah, you freaking clown. Just stop virtue signaling to me. know what I'm saying? It's like, the point being is liberals have this need to virtue signal, and I don't play that. And it was so obvious this guy was doing that. It's like, give me a break. And that's the drawback about living in a blue area, is the liberals are hypocrites, man. You know what I'm saying? They act like they want all this, freaking diversity and all this crap. Have the boys wear pink jerseys just to show that, pink doesn't mean boys can't just stupid. But at the end of the day, they still do what they do, which is live in a safe, lily white community with people like them, and then they gripe about how there's not enough diversity. It's so silly. But anyway, but I remember we had Bobby Clark lived down the street from us, the old Philadelphia Flyers guy, Chris Pronger. He was so a lot of Flyers lived in Haddonfield. So the Chris Pronger, who played defense for the Philadelphia Flyers, we went out to Little League one time, and Chris Pronger was there with his kids playing Little League. It was cool, man. It's a great little town. Next door to Haddonfield is another great little town. I forgot what it's called, though. So you got Collingswood, Haddonfield, and next door over. Cherry Hill didn't do anything for me. Moorestown didn't do anything for me. I forgot the name. Mount Laurel, maybe? No, I don't think it was Mount Laurel. Mount Laurel didn't do much for me. Medford, I think. That was a nice little town. But lots of small little towns in New Jersey that are cool, man. Like my sister lives up there in Morristown, which is in North Jersey. Again, nice little quaint town. It's fantastic. It's expensive and it's liberal, and that's can't have that, man. So a town like Haddonfield that is not liberal is what I'm looking for. And I mean, this is just what look, man, this is my fantasy. I don't know if I'll ever move to a place like that. I might just stay here. I don't know. But I like maps. I like looking at different communities. I always love maps. Always loved the idea of like, wonder what this place is like. Wonder what that place is. Just something I've always, excuse me, I got frog in my throat. Something I've always enjoyed. And sue me. But, I just say, am I going to move there? Well, I mean, the big issue is got to get the ball and chain. And the ball and chain is going to say, we're moving to wherever the kids are. So that might well still be here in North Fulton County. No, I'm not retiring in North Fulton County. I've already told the ball and chain that. So I don't care what happens. We ain't retiring in North Fulton County. We're getting out. We're going to a red county. That's for doggone sure. So she at least agreed with me on that. All right, we'll see ya.